So today we're going to be talking about one of my favourite artists from when I was living in Barcelona. I'm going to be talking about pop sensation Rosalia. Now Rosalia is an interesting figure because she is probably the biggest pop star in the Spanish and Latin American charts right now. In fact, her tune Con Altura, which she did with J Balvin, has got nearly 2 billion views on YouTube. But Rosalia isn't just this pop star, she's quite experimental. And on the eve of her becoming this international superstar, she released her album, which was based on her university thesis called Mal Querer, or The Bad Loving. Now Rosalia began songwriting when she was 17 under the guidance of José Miguel Vizcaya, who is a flamenco artist, and her main musical inspiration comes back to flamenco. When Rosalia was making the album, she was a struggling independent student, and she was really the only one with the vision for what she wanted to create. But she worked with her friend El Guincho, and the whole album was produced on El Guincho's laptop in his apartment, which is very impressive, really. The album is based on La Roman de Flamenca, which is a 13th century tragedy written by an unknown author. Rosalia was drawn to it because it mentioned flamenco, her favourite type of music, but it wasn't actually about that. And as she began reading into it, she saw the parable as something that could be linked to a modern audience. La Roman de Flamenca is about a woman who marries a man who is afraid of letting her leave his palace because she is so beautiful that he fears she's going to fall in love with someone else. And Rosalia linked that story to her personal experiences of being in a relationship, and also the more modern discussion that goes on around domestic abuse and abusive relationships in general. The album opens up with Malamente, or Badly, and this is probably the most famous song from the album. It went 5 times platinum in Spain, and the song is a combination of a more traditional flamenco and an electronic beat, and it's really clever. It's a great song. The song is about the woman, or Rosalia's, premonition before the relationship that it was going to go wrong, that the man that she was going to marry wasn't the man that he made himself out to be. And this was based on a prophecy given by a mystic figure, a mystic woman. The second single off the album is Pienso en tu mirar, or Thinking About Your Gaze. And this is another song that expertly blends flamenco, R&B, hip-hop all together to create this fantastic song. The album also features Rosalia's impressive vocal performance. This is really shown by the song Renego, which sounds like the first song from the third act of an opera. It's very impressive. It again blends classical sort of ballad music with a modern production. It sounds very reverby and echoey, but it sounds like it was recorded in an apartment, which, I mean, it was, but it fits again with this theme of isolation and abuse that pervades the album. Another example of a tune that's steeped in traditional Spanish music is Nana, which is a heartbreaking lullaby that Rosalia sings to an unwanted child as a result of the marriage. She sings of her desperation and despair, and the song follows the melody of a traditional flamenco tune. So again, Rosalia is both this artist who is very in touch with the now, but knows her musical history and her musical past better than anyone else. The last half of the album in particular is influenced by artists such as James Blake, who Rosalia credits and actually is featured on a song called Barefoot in the Park with him. The album closes on A Ningún Hombre, or I Don't Consent to Any Man, which is about the heroine finally coming to terms with her relationship and recognising her worth. The album is a short one, it's only 30 minutes, but in it, Rosalia gets everything out of the length. All of the songs are fantastic, they don't overstay their welcome, the pop songs are brilliant and they sold extremely well in Spain, but also the more traditional flamenco music is really bolstered by this new take and by the story that it follows. I would compare the album favourably to something like Hounds of Love by Kate Bush, because that is another album that uses pop but also is quite experimental in how far it takes it and so on. Rosalia is now one of the biggest artists in the world, and rightfully so. But this album really displays what she can bring, and I hope to see more of the same in the future, potentially. I've not even talked about the fantastic visual aspects of this album, which were displayed on YouTube, nor the great live show she put on at Primavera Sound, which I went to see back in 2019. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and please give this album a listen. I think if you're into artists such as Shakira or Lady Gaga or Carly Rae Jepsen and so on, you'll get something from this. So yeah, hope you enjoy it.